1923. The architect is Alfred Alschuler. Here's what happened 5 years ago. The Hilton Hotel bought it, and they converted that building into a boutique hotel. There's a bar on top called the London House. You can have dinner in that temple. Bring your credit card. Okay? Now, if that's French Beaux Art, focus on the building on the corner. See the tall, skinny one? That's your first Art Deco building. Look at me for just a second. On your tour, when you see a building that's vertically oriented, has setbacks in geometric shapes, that's Art Deco. Now, I'm going to go a little bit quick, but I want you to look at that bridge house. That is exactly where Fort Dearborn was in 1803. Why was it there? Because Lake Michigan started right here at this bridge before the fire. On October the 8th, 1871, the city burns to the ground. They don't know what to do with the rubble, so they push it into Lake Michigan. From Roosevelt to Fullerton is all rubble from the fire. Has anybody on the boat seen the Chicago City flag? Raise your hand. It has how many stars? 4. The first one is Fort Dearborn. The second one is the Great Chicago Fire. Okay? Now, French Beaux Art on the left, Art Deco on the left, and how deep is the river? This river is 22 feet deep. It's 156 miles long. This river dates back to the Ice Age, and we love it. We have 80 different species of fish in the Chicago River. Come over here on the right. Look up. What's the name of the building? You got it right. Trump International Hotel and Tower, built in 2009. I like details, and I will bore you. 704 million pounds of concrete, 92 stories, 1,362 feet. If you're from Europe, 415 meters. The building, by the way, has a penthouse on top. It just sold. What did they get for it? That's very low. 20's low. $30 million. Now, take your cell phone out quickly. Take a picture right now of the most photographed building in Chicago. If you're from Chicago, what do you call that building? Corn Cobs is correct. It was built in my vintage, 1962. The building is done by Bertrand Goldberg. And if you live in that building, all of your rooms are the shape of a piece of pie. You cannot park your own car. They're all valet. I'm looking at you. Does anybody on my boat remember the Bob Newhart show? Oh, we've got a couple. Remember the opening scene? That was at this building. And also, does anybody remember Steve McQueen? Yeah, they pushed the 1979 Pontiac Grand Prix off the 17th floor during that movie into the river. Take a look. I love that building. It's an absolute icon. And it's still popular today. The problem is, you can't do your laundry in your condo. All the laundry's done on the 18th floor. Yeah. Marina Towers, 1962. Bridges. How many bridges do we have in Chicago that open? Look at my hand. 37 bridges that open in the middle. Anybody from Europe? There's only one city in the world that has more bridges that open than Chicago. It's in Europe. What's the name of it, sir? Amsterdam is correct. Your next question, how many bridges opened in Amsterdam? You were doing so well. 101. Yeah, I know. I study bridges. Tell me why. I have time. Come over here. That's how tall you gotta be to be a skyscraper. How tall is it? 500 feet. How many stories is it? 35. That building is the minimum. We have 129 buildings that tall or taller. There's Portofino's and there's RPN, both pretty good restaurants. Now, if you look on your right side for the children on board, you ready? The last remaining warehouse on the Chicago River is coming up on your right. Take a look. Can you see the red building? Now, for that young man right there, can you see the clock on top of that building? Why does it have a clock? Guys, that's how people knew what time to get to work. All the old warehouses had clocks, so people knew what time to get to work. That was a grocery warehouse. Original terracotta brick. I love that building. It's one of my favorite warehouses in Chicago. Okay, my question. Raise your hand if you're an engineer. Where are my engineers? Okay, we got a couple of engineers. The next building is going to drive you crazy. It has no air conditioning. It was built in 2009. I want to ask my engineers, what cools this building? Water is correct, river water, and it comes back cleaner and cooler than what went in. The architect's name is Picard and Chilton. Have a look. Take a look. There's a garden on top that mitigates water. Last summer I was doing a tour. I asked the question, are there any engineers on my boat? 25 people raised their hand. I said, this is going to be a great tour. I love talking to engineers. They said, we're software engineers, which I found quite interesting. I haven't done a tour in a while, so I want to make sure. I love this. Look at this. Santiago Caltrava did that beautiful, beautiful sculpture, and that's River Point. Now, I know that I'm going a little bit fast, but look on the right quick, and don't get mad at me because I'm going to show you something strange. Can you see the red building? There's 300 condominiums in that building. For 75 years, they had a view of the river. They couldn't build the building because the land is too small. The architect's name is Gesh. He decided to do something strange. Take a look. He built a building with a very narrow bottom and a very wide top. Are you kidding me? 150 North Riverside. Now, where's my engineer? What's on top of that building to keep it from going like this? Water. 160,000 gallons of water in 6 silos, and they're on wheat. Amazing. Okay. Now, for you children, a river otter lives right there. Remember, Chicago has 80 different species of fish. Yeah, take a, don't hurt your neck. Look at that. Look at the bottom of that building. I watched that being built. Have you ever played with Legos? It looked like a Lego set going up. It was absolutely amazing. Okay, look on the right side. I know this is boring. I've been told that by 1,000 people. I don't care. This building drives me crazy. Why? Ladies and gentlemen, it was built in 1990, and on this side there are no caissons. There are no pylons going into bedrock. What holds the building up? That steel truss on top. Take a look. Why is it like that? The railroad comes in and turns their engines around underneath the building. It's absolutely phenomenal how it happened. And the diesel fume goes up through the middle. Take a look. There's the truss. This building on the right was done by Hullabur and Root, 1928. It is Art Deco. That is one of the first buildings that actually used the rail went underneath, using 12-foot girders on it. Yeah. So where are you? You're on the south branch of the Chicago River. You're headed towards the Willis Tower, which we call the city. Here, it looks like it's popping back and forth. Okay, if you're from Paris, this bridge was actually designed after a bridge in Paris. All of our bridges weigh 16,000 tons. The steel weighs about 4,000 tons, and the counterweights weigh about 12,000 tons. Do a hard right. The building on the right, the architect is Helmut Jahn. He wanted that building to look like a cash register. If you don't remember what a cash register looked like, you pushed a button and a drawer came out. And of course, this is the Ogilvy Station. Okay.
Look at the tree.
The population of Chicago is what? 2.7 million. New York has 8.8, Los Angeles 3.9, Chicago 2.7. What city is going to overtake Chicago? Houston, Texas is correct. What's the population of Houston today? 2.5. Yeah. This city had a World's Fair in 1893 after we rebuilt it after the fire. 28 million people came to the fair. That was half the population of the United States. And by the way, the World's Fair of 1893 is the 3rd star on the Chicago flag. The 4th star is the World's Fair of 1933. So where's my students? The 4 red stars all start with the letter F. Forge, fire, fair, fair. 28 million people came to that fair to see 2 things. What were they? The first Ferris wheel ever built was built in Chicago in 1893, and they came to see electricity. Hi, Phyllis. How are you, dear? Yeah, they came to see electricity. What scientist lit up the White City? Nikola Tesla. Yeah. Now, on the right, Helmut Jahn designed that building. It used to be a stock trading floor. This is so weird. They converted the building. It's now a fitness center, but they built the fitness center right next to a donut shop. Okay, take your cell phone out quick. Put it on vertical. You can only get this picture on this boat. Take a picture of the tallest building in the world. Yeah, smell the onions. How many stories do you have to be a skyscraper? 35. What's the population of Chicago? 2.7. If I show you a building that's vertically oriented with setbacks, what's the style? Art Deco. I'm giving you a B minus. Okay? Okay, there's our gorgeous faces. Take a look. You have a camera, take that picture. And this is the Hartford Plaza. Right now, you're headed out to Lake Michigan. It's going to become very windy, and I'm serious about your hats. Don't lose those beautiful hats. Okay, the next building is by Fujikawa, and it is the old stock trading floor. The building was built in 1990 when that mauve color was very much in. Every time I'll just tell you, wedding receptions in the summer on that promenade, almost every weekend. Oh, I forgot to tell you, your old tour guide holds the record with Wendella on number of proposals on a boat. I've had 18 wedding proposals. The closest tour guide is 9. My most memorable one was a guy from Eastern Europe. He spoke very little English. During my tour, he scared me to death. He come running up the center aisle and handed me a poem. He said, "Jack, read this poem to my girlfriend. She's sitting right here." He got down on one knee. I read the poem. It asked for her hand in marriage. She said yes. He took a diamond ring out of his vest pocket, gently placed it on her finger, and then he said, did something I didn't believe. He got up, took the microphone out of my hands, and he said these words: "Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to know this is the happiest day of my life. I also want you to know the bar is now open on me." And we loved it. Chicago's lyric, it's a true story. Chicago's lyric opera is amazing. Now for my kids on boat, can you see the word building? It's not misspelled. That's the Greek spelling of the word building. 3,500 seats. Unfortunately, the building finished during the Great Depression. It also sat empty till the 1940s. Okay, I'm going to find out if you were listening. You ready? The building on the right has a very narrow bottom, a very tall top, 54 stories, the Bank of America building. What's the architect's name? Oh no, what building have you seen with a narrow bottom? That one. What's his name? You were doing so well. Gesh. Remember Gesh and Associates? They did the building with a small bottom and the tall top. Yeah. Now, as you clear the bridge, you'll look on the right side. The most historical spot on your tour is coming up. Don't miss it. Not Starbucks. I'm worried about you. On that piece of land in 1860, 12,000 people came to Chicago and nominated our 16th president to run for the Republican Party. Somebody tell me who number 16 is. Abraham Lincoln. Who's number 18? Ulysses S. Grant, Barack Obama, and Ronald. Hello, ladies. My. Barack Obama and, sorry, I love this little job. Barack Obama, Ronald Reagan are also from Illinois. Only one was born here. That was Ronald Reagan. Yeah. Now we're going to make the turn, and I'm going to show you something I love. These 3 buildings, if you're a New Yorker, they were all designed by a New York architect, Cohn, Pedersen, and Fox. The purple one, 2002. The green one, 1983. The beige one, 1989. Are you ready? In that green building in 1986, they filmed Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah, and it bends with the river. They call that contextualism. Isn't that a gorgeous building? Look at this, $110 million invested in the Chicago River. Can you see the building with the gold top and the green bottom? What was the architect's vision for that building? What was he thinking about? Ladies and gentlemen, Halliburton and Root, Burnham, there was the Burnham brothers who designed it, and they were actually thinking about a champagne bottle. And that gold paint has gold in it. This ugly building on the right, the brown one, that's called brutalism, where they pound the lines in. And my favorite postmodern building is right there. Can you see the bars on the windows? Those are called mullions. They help bring light into the building. The building is housed by the Leo Burnett Advertising Company. Do you remember Tony the Tiger? Anybody? Or how about United Fly with Friendly Skies? That all came out of that building. Yeah, Al Capone, remember him? Yeah, I do too. He used to have a cocktail at the top of that building. It's called the Stratosphere Lounge. He could drive his car into an elevator, and the elevator would take him up to this 19th floor, and he could get out and have a cocktail. Everybody that worked in that building parked their car on the same floor they worked on. They closed the elevator in 1940 for one reason and one reason only: cars got too big. My favorite memorial in our city, don't miss this. Look on the right side. That's the Vietnam Memorial Park. It's gorgeous. On that black marble square, there are 3,000 names of the men and women who lost their lives in Vietnam from the state of Illinois. It's a very special place to your old tour guide. I happen to be a Vietnam. Go home with my favorite photograph. Take your camera out, point it vertically like this. You can only get this on the boat, and I have this at home. Do not take this picture until you see a building with a yellow onion on top. Once you see the yellow onion, snap the pictures. You're going to have the Tribune Tower on the right, 1925, the Hotel Intercontinental in the middle, 1930, and the Wrigley Building on the left, 1921. Take a look. Is that gorgeous? Those are all landmark buildings. This bridge was built in 1920, and that spawned all of these buildings. We're doing quite well. We'll take a little break when we get to Lake Michigan. As we look on the right side, Mies van der Rohe designed this building. Can you see the black on the outside? Do you think that holds the building up? No, it doesn't. It's just stuck to that concrete. Can you see the concrete pillars? His philosophy was less is more. Now, quick. The tallest building ever designed by a woman in 2009 is the Aqua Building. Can you see the building on the right with the undulating one? Huron's 2, Superior's 3, we're missing one, Ontario. The 5 Great Lakes account for 20% of the world's fresh water. If I add one lake in Siberia, I'm up to 40%. What's the name of the lake in Siberia? Baikal. Baikal. How did I learn that? I had a guy from Siberia on my boat. He came up and gave me that fact, and I said, I can't pronounce Baikal. And he went like this. Baikal. I know. Here's the Lakeshore Drive Bridge, and now we're going to go straight out to the lake and turn around. We'll take a tiny break, take some pictures, just relax for a minute. I know this tour goes fast, and if I'm speaking too fast, please just raise your hand. I can slow down, okay? I am talking too fast. I thought you'd say that. Look at your little dollies that got the same outfit as you have. Okay. So it's going to get very, very windy. You already know that. Put your hat on hard. Okay. And there's Lake Michigan. Navy Pier is on the left side of the boat. Dates back to 1916 when it was called the Municipal Pier. And of course, the wind is blowing. Don't lose your Yankee hat. I'm just telling you, don't lose your hat, okay? Oh, by the way, one of you asked me when we were loading, where is Soldier Field? Soldier Field is about a mile, 2 miles that way, home of the Chicago Bears. During a tornado watch, we all run to Soldier Field. Why? The chance of a touchdown in that stadium is slim to none. I'm kidding. I'm in one of those moods tonight. I love the Lions, by the way. Anyway, okay. Yeah, I know. Okay. The Chicago lock is in front of us. And now I have an announcement. If you need to use the bathroom, or if the children need to use the bathroom, this is the time to do it. We get back to the dock, we got to lock them up and clean them. So we got about 10-15 minutes to get down there and use the bathroom if you need to. Look at how brown Lake Michigan is with all the wind coming up from that storm. Wasn't that storm horrible? My goodness. And there's the Chicago lock in front of us. I have a question for my students. Is Lake Michigan higher than the river or lower? It's not the same. It's not lower. It's higher. Yeah. Okay. Captain is going to turn the boat just a little bit. Now, take your cell phone out, even if you have to stand up. Watch your hat again. Take the picture of the city, because you can only get that picture on the boat. Now, $2 billion. What's your Beanie Baby worth? Nada. There's only one Beanie Baby worth some money. Which one? Princess Diana. What color is it? Purple. You're doing so well. Okay, now, has anybody on the boat ever eaten a Hostess Twinkie? Yeah, the Hostess Twinkie came out of Chicago in 1930. Sir, in the back, what was the first filling? Banana cream. They couldn't get bananas in 1942, so they changed to the white stuff. What's the white stuff? No one knows. What's the shelf life of a Twinkie? Forever. All right. Anybody ever play with Lincoln Logs? Raise your hand. Who invented the Lincoln Log? Give me a guess. Not Abe Lincoln, sir. I'm worried about you. Frank Lloyd Wright's son. Okay. You're doing quite well. This building was built in 2002. James DeStefano is the architect. Here's your question. Look up at the round roof. One of you tell me. Can I finish the question? What was the architect's vision? The Statue of Liberty. Well done. And of course, this is the Chicago River Fountain. Coming up on the right is our NBC Towers. Do a hard right. I'm pointing at it. That is all Art Deco. The Sheraton Hotel was done by Solomon, Cornwell, and Benz, 1990. You know, you guys are listening to my every word, and I don't normally do this. Do you mind if I share with you a fairly personal story? 10 years ago, I became a tour guide with Wendella. To get this job, I passed 3 verbal tests. It took me 4 months of study, and I finally got certified. I was coming back from the lake on the 90-minute tour. I had 118 people on my boat. I had only done 4 tours by myself, and without knowing it, President Barack Obama was having dinner at the Sheraton. Security was across the river. They wouldn't let our boat pass. On that night, my 90-minute tour took 3 hours and 45 minutes. I didn't know what to do. I called the office. They said, Jack, there's only one thing you can do. Open the bar. And I did. Ladies and gentlemen, I talked for 3 hours and 45 minutes. I told my entire life history. On that night, I'm fairly certain I mentioned the name of my first girlfriend in the 6th grade. By the way, what was her name? The year's 1958. It was the most popular name in San Francisco, and it starts with a D as in Delta. Not Diana, not Debbie. Who said Donna? Donna was her name. Well done. No, I did not marry her. 3 hours and 45 minutes on the boat. Okay, sorry, I kind of got off track there. I'm feeling pretty good today. I had a good lunch. Look on the right side, the building that has the yellow dome is the Hotel Intercontinental for my engineers. The parapet beyond the dome was going to be used to dock airships. and bring the passengers down the parapet. If you're from the University of Chicago, there's the Gleacher Center. 27 classrooms. Look at the doggies. Look at this. 27 classrooms by Dirk Loham. Did you know the University of Chicago has produced 95 Nobel Prize winners? Second to what school? Harvard is correct. I had the graduating class of the University of Chicago on my boat. You know what they call the University of Chicago? The place where fun goes to die. Oh, God. Okay, what's my favorite building on the planet? Wrigley Building. Well done indeed. The Wrigley Building, built in 1921 on the left, 1924 on the right. The clock on top was designed after a clock in Sevilla, Spain. Can you see the terracotta plates on the outside? What do they look like? Pieces of chewing gum. Yeah, and by the way, that building is in excellent shape.